Yeah, how do you guys feel about it? I still have problems with that one.
Well, I had always hoped that the flashlight would become more fleshy in the redesign, to be honest.
It has become more flashlighty. I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, it's not pink, but you know.
Welcome to the Demonetization Show, ladies and gentlemen, where we try to be demonetized more each and every week. Sorry we're late. We're really late. And that is mostly my fault because I got back a little late, but we had some technical... No, I'm not sorry. I just said it was late. Horrendous.
You said you were sorry.
Did I?
You did.
Oh, well. I didn't mean it.
Good.
So, hey, hopefully the ping went out. I have no clue. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. Hey, it did.
Yes, it went out.
Yay, success.
Yeah, well, not really, because...
Yeah, like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah.
The people were staring at nothing because, you know...
Tam tells me the ping went out.
Never happened.
Ping went out, Eric.
Hey, people have the time these days.
So I've got, like, redesigned desk. I've got, like, everything's a mess for me this morning because I got, like, a really cool monitor stand, you know, to move monitors around, and everything's discombobulated. We have a new background, thanks to Redline, who did a hell of a job, I think, on our new look. So thank you, Redline. You did a phenomenal job on that. And then I had to put it all together this morning. We got RJ, who finally is actually on the show after being in the intro for 14 years.
I needed to take a break from my projects that I have going on right now because like my head is about to explode. I needed to take a break.
And we are joined by, and I'm going to like mess these up, so I'm just going to say CCP Left Rook, and then Soth, you're in charge of everybody else's name.
We also got CCP Jörg. Hi. And CCP Mirko.
Awesome.
Awesome.
And we're going to show everybody some cool things that CCP snuck around and did some things with, and they're going to show us. But today's going to be about, you know, all about art, right?
I've been waiting so long for this.
Yeah. Look, Brisk loves Red's design. Thank you, Brisk, for loving Red design. It's awesome, you know.
I mean, unless one of you
the
CCP
Twitch
guys...
chat on the stream. Okay, the Twitch chat. Okay, I'll fix that. I got a couple things because I got the I actually got the logo late, so there might be some quick little blips and changes in the screen as we go. But that's by the way, not Redline's fault that I got the logo right. It was us all here. So, let's bring the chat up a layer. There we go. That's amazing. It's amazing when you know what you're doing. Redline should be in charge of this show. All right, so what are we going to talk about, folks?
I was thinking about
sound.
Sound. Yeah.
What is something wrong with the sound?
All of the stuff about Eve and sound in space.
Sound in space.
Sound in space.
Yes.
Okay. First, why don't we let the guys from CCP tell everybody who they are and what they do?
That would be.
They have context.
There we go.
That would be sensible.
Always good. You know, we're not used to having.
Well, someone
here
has to be sensible for once.
We're not used to having guests. We're just used to making things up about the game that aren't real. So go, Genuine, please. We'll start top to bottom.
Yeah, let's do it age group though. I top to bottom.
Age group's good. Age group's good.
I will start if everybody agree. Okay. So my name is Björn Jonsson and I'm a 3D senior artist. I've been with CCP for 12 years, I think. I almost forgot how long I've been here. I mostly do modeling, some effect works as well, and latest model I've been working on is basically the avatar. I modeled that, and other big things I modeled is for example the Triglavian motherships and many of the Triglavian ships and assets. Yeah, so that's me.
Yeah, I'm Gogi, CCP Jörg. I'm probably gonna update my dev name soon. I was gonna do it for this show because it's causing some confusion. But I'm the art director. I've been with CCP for it's 13th year, I think, now.
Wow.
Wow.
And well, Left Rook has been for longer. So yeah, and worked on just too many things to count on, to count up. But just working with the 3D guys, the concept artists, and as of late also quite a lot with the UI people as well. Yeah, that's it.
Yep, and I'm CCP Myrkur, or Andre, and I'm the lead VFX artist. You might know some of my work from the stars, explosions, lasers, boom boom, all kinds of stuff. And yeah, we don't have a lot of VFX artists, but our 3D artists, you know, they are kind of generalists and they help out a lot with that as well. And yeah, even CCP Left Rook here took a really big hand in some of the Triglavian stuff last summer. And, yeah.
Cool. So I know we have you guys let me know when you want to go to the feed, because we have that live feed for folks. So, you know, anytime you want to talk about those, I mean, really, you know.
Hey, I have a technical question.
Yes.
I cannot get the view of everyone up on screen.
Oh, on Skype.
On Skype. Because we love Skype.
That's interesting. Are you set to grid? Are you set to grid view?
I try every view. I press all the buttons constantly.
By the way, for the audience, we were pushing all the buttons constantly.
Yeah, I love it.
Before this show.
I can go on speaker view and it always picks Bjössi, Left Rook, on speaker.
So I go to speaker group and it always picks you.
Okay. And window mode, float mode, full screen.
We put this
will bring up the.
Maybe it's easiest if you just open up Twitch, Gogi.
Yeah, that's generally what I got going on. I open up Twitch and mute it.
That. Of course, I'll open Twitch.
I usually open up Twitch and then just mute it. That's kind of like the whatever the broadcast sample is, I guess.
There we go.
We'll just put it down to this is Microsoft at its best.
I have no comment on the matter.
Okay, I'm on Twitch. Search for something.
There. I'll get you the. I'll get you some link action. Let's see.
I am 3 times as loud. Really? I'm actually lower than everybody else on the thing. I'll lower myself a little more. Is this good?
If you find the Cigar Lounge, I just posted the Twitch channel in there.
Yeah, I found it on Imperium News. EVE Online.
By the way, Chirac, I'm not. This is not TIS. This is Push to Talk. I know we don't have the logo up yet, but you know.
No, Eric, you're still way too loud. You need to lower yourself.
I feel a bit better now.
Horrendous, I don't believe. Somebody in chat, I might believe. Yeah. Some random in chat, I'll believe.
I really was trying to see if we could get him to mute himself.
All fun and games.
He knows you too well, man.
All right.
How are we feeling about the show so far? I like it. There's some things we need to adjust. I need to adjust some screens, do some things here with the chats. We'll be.
Go adjust. Meanwhile, I got a question for the CCPers.
Go.
When you guys like design a new ship or design like new planets or whatever, how much thought do you put into hiding little details that you hope someday someone will find?
Oh, the Easter egg question.
Yeah, I used to put them in.
Yeah.
That's all that I ever did.
Is there any Easter eggs that nobody's found yet that you've kind of gone, oh, for God's sake?
Yeah. So it's I'm not building the ships or texturing them anymore. So I did put some stuff like that in back, but that's like a few years ago. Yeah. So I don't know. I know some guys always think about this a bit. Yes.
Do they have like the QA team say, hey, you got to look for like this this image somewhere. You got to hunt for this image. I would love to see that list.
I sometimes leave Easter eggs for the QA, actually, small gaps model I close and hope it will go through and nobody will notice. I know a lot of things like that.
I just art approve it with
a couple years later.
So is that as a test, like to test the QA team? It's like they're really good if they find this one. If they're okay, they'll find this one.
Sometimes you just need a little bit of text or something,
Yeah.
Marco, you're a bit quiet, by the way.
Yeah, try and up myself.
Yes, generally, it's like you have a nice voice. You should make it more prominent.
So I think the biggest thing on a lot of people's minds right now, and I guess we'll jump right into it, is the Avatar. It seems like the Avatar has been around for quite some time. So it's like I think it's like when you get older, you gotta add a bigger hole, get a little bit better flow going on there. So what kind of brought around the specific redesign for that to actually like say move that really strategically positioned hole on the Avatar to make it a big kind of wide opening in the center of it?
I guess firstly though on that we'd wanted to do a Titan redesign for a long time, and
there's a follow-up for that anyways.
Yeah,
you gotta follow up Titan.
And but we've kind of done so many structures and stuff like that, so we've kind of pushed a lot of tech that kind of helps for that kind of work. And I think if I remember correctly, it was kind of late last year. Bjössi Leftruk came to me and he was really excited to start just on the Avatar. And I remember it had been a period. I mean, CCP had been doing a lot of onboarding kind of work, focused on like the early experience on Eve, and we felt kind of it would be cool to do like a ship that's kind of really focused for the veteran players. And that's how it started, and then just started, kind of took the ball quite strongly from there, and then it kind of evolved from that, and then more people jumped on board, and I think we've had like 5 people work on it so far.
Yeah. It's also we were experimenting a lot with the Triglavian mothership that then came very handy when we redesigned the Avatar. So we were discovering a lot of things and experimenting basically on the Triglavian mothership on that scale. So that helped a lot, and that got me excited basically to push for the Avatar to be.
So, and I've noticed a few things over the years that kind of pull the models out, and you can kind of I drag them into Maya, and I them just kind of like trying to study like workflows and so on and so forth. But I see with a lot of the older kind of bigger capital ships, it seems to be using an older system of like the older UV sets kind of system where you're kind of multi-layering them and so on, and then say I kind of linked that up together with like newer skins and so on. It's like, is it because of how the UV so on were done on those models so far back and how big they are and how kind of complex they are? Is that say why the like newer skins aren't predominantly pushed out for the larger capital ships as a whole, and they just kind of stick to like Battleship and below? Or obviously the newer ships can be built and set up in those current workflows, but I mean, is that kind of like what is that? Is it just older models and an older workflow that kind of maybe blocks some of that?
I don't think it blocks it per se. It's like we in the art department we really don't decide. We get requests in for like what ships to take, and I guess it's like there's multiple factors that those people that bring those requests to us think about. I think we can pretty much do like the skin technology on all the ships. Like this is like an overlay that can.
You just use projections then.
Projections,
pretty much.
But obviously, when we're doing certain material areas, some of the older ships, like you mentioned, they could be more problematic, might not work as well. But but I haven't really followed it. Like, is there many ships that you feel are missing out there that just never get any attention? I don't know.
Well, it's just for me personally. I was always the Wyvern type person. That was always my favorite ship. It's a lot of I noticed it a lot on the Cal ships, and it seems like a lot of other in the capital direction rather than Caldari. But I'm about to get yelled in Caldari.
Talking about changes and capitals and stuff like that. Like you must get this all the time as well. But like. Do you think there will ever be a situation where the sizes of supercarriers are going to increase to be, so we have some supercarriers that are clearly much larger than regular carriers at some point, or is that like a pipe dream, like a wish, but like nowhere near anything workable at the moment?
I don't know. I haven't really looked into that.
Because there has always been an ongoing thing, like of basically like the supercarriers being, they're good, they're really really awesome as models, but like the size comparison between going from carriers to supercarriers to Titans, like there's this big jump between supercarriers and Titans, but between like even some battleships, like the Machariel, for example, the size difference between a Machariel and a Wyvern, for example.
Yeah.
So, Brisk was talking about the Aeon needs help. I think the Aeon model is one of the coolest looking models in the game. I love the half-top ship. I don't know. As a super carrier. I think it kind of works.
It's always a joke about it. It's never completed. Like, they only completed half of it.
I like it. I'm serious.
If it was completed, it would be massively OP. Let's put it this way.
But sticking on that scale thing, is it possibly a camera clipping problem when actually in engine?
I'm not sure.
No.
Don't think so.
No, probably not.
But regarding the whole scale thing, it's interesting. Like I was reading on Reddit now for the Avatar, people were speculating. Oh, did I make the ship bigger? Right. We didn't touch the scale of it. I think it's exactly the same, right?
Exactly the same. Yes, absolutely.
And but like flying close to it now, feels so much bigger, and maybe it's just we start working our way back down from that, how we can start to make sense of these different size classes. But it's always quite problematic. We often load up, like when we're creating new ships, into a certain ship line, and then we load up all the cruisers or whatever we're looking at, and go, look at the scale of these things. We should start to tweak things, There is, and it's like size versus scale versus mass and all these things.
There's a lot of legacy stuff around the sizes of ships. They are all over, basically.
Is that kind of one of the reasons why we're getting an Avatar redesign? Like,
Eric, what, Arendis, why do I have McGurk envy?
Because we're still the Open Comm show right now.
Yeah, the show's still listed as Open Comms. That's all.
Oh, am I? Well, we were trying to do things quickly today, but I do have the stealth mic. Stealth mic's here.
That's an interesting question. Always felt like Rust ships should have debris falling off them. Andre, we can look at that stuff.
The VFX really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't do something like that.
Yeah, it's not.
There you go.
Far.
You guys happy now?
We have that rust skin. I keep feeling like we should add sparks to it also, just like, oh, something's malfunctioning and stuff.
That sounds like a beautiful idea.
Oh, hold on.
You guys saying that? Sorry, Eric.
Like when the ships go through space and little sparks trail off the back, like they're falling apart.
No, you gotta just have it down at 1% higher, and just on fire flying through space.
What, RJ? I was gonna say, like, as you take damage, would it be? I'm not suggesting so. I'm just saying, would it even be possible for you guys to do like bits of the hull chipping off as it takes damage?
Well, you get that when you get to the hull damage, but like when you're in shield and armor,
particles coming off and flying away, right?
Yeah, we need more objects in space for the engine to track. There you go.
Dude, that's why you got LODs, man. That's why you got LODs.
Yeah, and that's the kind of visual fluff also we can do just on the client side, not bog down the server.
Yeah, sorry, and that's the way I mean it. In like
that would.
The new skins that have the flags or whatever following them. I can't quite remember what it is.
But just on the whole scale thing, is there something that could be done to make it feel more like you can actually tell the difference on the different scale of ships, like something that could be put on the actual art design so you can tell that these big ships are massive compared to the smaller ones?
He's asking for Windows.
Yeah, Windows. Yeah. You can do stuff with, markings, decals and stuff like that as well. But I'm also like, I quite like starting to make all these decals and markings bigger now. I find it nice to see this. Like, I think we've had them so small on many ships, so you zoom out a little bit and just all these nice decals and graphic design elements kind of just disappear. Mm-hmm. But, you put them really big and people might say, that hurts the scale, so it's a balance. But like Windows do this, and I remember we did once, I can't remember when it was, we had these windows that got more fidelity when you zoomed in. So you would zoom in and then you would have more windows appear. Do you remember this, Lethrook? Then we, for some reason, we didn't kind of develop that any further. So that was like something that could be help in that kind of stuff.
But also things like the exhaust, right? The engine exhaust, they might actually be something that you could also get the feel that there's a difference in scale with how massive the exhaust is actually producing stuff, and the flaps on these things. That might actually get you the feeling that this is not a frigate anymore. You're looking at something very, very big.
So here's an interesting thing is I'm looking at the Ishtar right now off of the Dropbox, right? So it's got those little drone bays on it and so on and so forth. For some of the ships that have drone bays that you can visibly see, or so on and so forth, what if you actually put cards inside of there and actually gave it to scale? Like, hey, this thing actually has a scaled drone and it actually looks like a hangar that's actually populated. Yeah. But I mean, you do simple, just one polygon card or maybe a sprite sheet or something like that. But that would
absolutely, that's a good idea. Yeah, something like that would absolutely help. So I think that's something we could look into. That's it.
That's just helping with kind of scale, possibly. But yeah.
Just to address at least one question that I know at least one person in the chat has had, and so do I. With the Avatar being redone, are we going to see the other Titans getting?
We're not going to fly them anymore.
We're not touching that. I don't know.
There's a spicy one. There's a spicy one for the show.
No, it was not for your comment. I was just joking.
Hopefully, we've done some early exploration work on it. Early concepts, but sure, absolutely, I would love to do all of them.
If we do get the rag getting reworked, can we get more of an edge on it? I mean, the Minmatar, Dread, and Titan are blatantly edged weapons, but can we actually get an edge on the front? Because the Ragnarok is basically a Talwar, and the Naglfar is a dagger. If you look at them.
Yeah. I mean, we sure, why not?
Sorry.
Stick an eye on it.
Chat wants to, reprocess all the Titans into Drakes, so we need giant Drake fleets everywhere.
Love the Drakes. Love the Drakes.
I love that ship too. It looks so cool to me.
Yeah, Drakes are amazing.
But we've been talking a lot about the Avatar and Titans in general. Why don't we show it? Or you guys have an
Yeah.
idea?
Absolutely.
That's Go Gadget Eric.
You want me to go show the feed, folks? That's what you want?
Yeah.
All
In
right.
before stream
Here
breaks.
it comes, because I've been watching it. It's
We're
been
down
like
to
so
15
cool.
minutes, so
Nah, we can go over.
Yeah.
Hold it.
Be worth, wait.
Let me get the. We'll change the scene here.
Well, I mean,
music.
Hold it.
you also obviously up the effects
what?
for the Titan Doomsday.
There
right?
we go.
For the Avatar Doomsday. Is
Yeah,
that something that
completely-
would probably happen with the other Titans at some point?
Yeah, if we
Yeah.
redesign the other ones, we.
Because I think there needs to be like a I think the the Ragnarok and the Leviathan really need something a little bit more at the moment.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting on these ships because I really don't look at the Avatar as a redesign, if you will. It's like if you zoom out, it's the exact same ship. The silhouette is pretty much the same. It's like a rebuild with new
Like an update.
technology, an update. It's like a newer version of my Jeep. It's like, but like then we kind of evaluate, like there is some strange ships in Eve that I take like the Blackbird. Remember, like when we redesigned that, we changed it completely, right? That's a redesign. There is but these are kind of I like the strange characters in Eve, and I would love to take them to a better level. And then there's like, when do you start changing it dramatically and calling it a redesign? So like this ship is not that, but like are some of the other Titans, up for that discussion? I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. Like if we change them dramatically, how will that affect?
Because it's like I kind of see what you guys did with the Chimera, which I love the original one, but I also love the new one too. I'm kind of torn between both of those, but it's like I always imagine like what the Leviathan would look like in a style of like say how the direction of where the new Chimera was. Also the same with the Phoenix as well.
I'm a big old school Chimera fan. I just love that ship.
The Chimera got mixed reviews, I guess.
I will say it's slowly starting to like grow on people. It was split at first, but people are beginning to like it more.
It was the first ship. I think we did this kind of new tech regarding the textures and high detailed textures, and that kind of takes away some of the creativity because you lose some control. Whereas in the Avatar here, like we kept the control on the front bit, like you see here on the front of the ship. That's where we UV it, so we can't design every plating element how we want it. But then on the main hull area, that's where you kind of lose that control, and that's where you get more of the repetitive kind of patterns happening. Kind of price you have to pay for this.
So here's a crazy question going into how you use thing. Say just on the Avatar itself, how many materials you got? If you know.
There is like 8 different material areas on it. Then it's totally split into 2 parts. That's basically the baked part of it. That is mostly the front. All the most interesting parts that we wanted to highlight, they are baked. And then the rest of the ship, the part on the back, it's all tileable textures. And that is basically what we've been doing with other big ships now.
Okay, that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Ooh.
When you do these things, right? These big model changes, which are awesome and freshens up the game. What about stuff like skins? Do you have to go through and test all the skins to make sure that they also fit?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a whole.
That's what we have to do, and we get some strange things out of that sometimes.
So
But,
I have to ask with the new kind of Doomsday effect, right? Was there by any chance a slight kind of inspiration from the Death Star? by any
I
chance?
knew you were going there.
I was thinking it as well, looking at it there. Yeah.
I don't know where you guys are getting that. I don't understand.
That's it's like Death Star 1 and Death Star 2 did the beams like. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
I think
is
it's about to
actually
generate a wormhole, to be honest.
this is the first time I'm actually seeing this effect. That looks sick.
Myself as well. It
That
is.
looks sick.
But I think like the old one was super strange, having the hanger stuff on front. It feels like just a weapon on front, and it's like what else could happen there,
Yeah. Yeah, we basically it was like we went through it. We basically wanted the super weapon to come from one place, not just randomly from the ship.
And that's kind of.
And then we have to give. We decided we have to give more purpose of the form of the ship. What is this giant?
That is the
Helmet.
So now here's the bigger question right now is this looks like it's been turned into more of a directional weapon. Are you gonna have to kind of angle your ship correctly to pop a Doomsday off at your target?
Yeah. You have to align to everything, of course.
Line all the
no more safe.
Yeah, there was a big discussion on design process that went into place to when we were deciding what happens basically when it shoots back. How are we going to solve that? And,
can you show it? Or Andre, are you running it there, or who's?
I'm running it. I think I can show it.
Yeah,
we did a lot of concepts on it. We dropped those pictures to you guys. You can maybe show them afterwards. I mean, it was a bit tricky. It's like
it's freezing on my screen. Is it freezing on your screen, or is that just technical?
No. That's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I think I found which ones you're talking about. Nice. I think it's the Doomsday concepts.
Then the beams would come from this side to the destination, basically.
That is
some sexy stuff right there, man. That's so much better than what I thought you could potentially do. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it should just pick, the right side depending on where the target is, and then that's a bit nicer than just firing from some point next to the ship.
I thought it could just come out the front and then start arcing round. Direction.
No, this can't be no Star Killer base where it's kind of just firing from some random plays. Get a Star Killer base.
And I just want to jump in here and say, seeing the raw footage on Discord at least, Twitch isn't even quite doing it justice on the color and just how nice the model is.
Yeah.
It is much better than what most of you are seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I might be quite biased, but it's just a work of art. I love it. I think it's just so beautiful.
Yeah. It looks the same on both my screens, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. It's looking gorgeous.
Yeah, unless you have your video. Turn your video up on Twitch. We're feeding it out as high as we can.
Do you know how many sprites and blinkies and effect areas are on the ship?
I was actually thinking about counting them. I have no clue. There are thousands.
It was interesting. Yeah, we compiled it when we did the Keepstar. It was many thousands and thousands of sprite lights. It was quite interesting. Yeah,
I love the interior of that looking like a turbine kind of thing. That looks amazing.
So since we're getting into that and sprites run this, and this is a good segue for, I guess, getting into, recently we switched from 32-bit client to 64-bit client. Obviously, this looks like it unlocks a whole bunch of stuff, but here's my question for that, since you guys went to 64, because I know Mac was going to throw something at me. I'm taking it a different direction. So with the advent of real-time ray tracing, can we possibly see some, RTX action in the future soon? TM maybe.
Yeah, we can't really talk about that.
I'm gonna grab another beer. I'll be right back.
Unlimited beers for him, because eventually we're going to find out the answer to that question.
I think we're going to have to make Jörg an honorary member of the show, because he's really on point.
What we can say is that our engine team is investigating the possibilities of more utilization of DX12. And also, when we do eventually get rid of DX9, then or end support for it at some point. I don't know when that will be, but then we can also start utilizing more DX11 features, which would be great.
Definitely playing my tune right there. Definitely playing my tune.
I was going to ask an extension to that, and I'll let you go in a minute, McLeod, because I know you've got your questions. Talking of graphics APIs, Vulkan? Which do you guys prefer, and which would be better for you?
I don't think we're really the right people to ask that. It's more of a graphics programmer question.
More of an engine thing.
And I don't want to put my foot in my mouth.
That's fair.
Put it in your mouth.
So Bebop Chicken has an interesting question in chat. So 4K texture will be something after full DX12 implementation? ?
Don't think so.
No. We had an investigation, I think, into
It's not doing
4K
as much
textures.
What people think.
Yeah.
Could do.
It didn't really come out to a worthwhile difference for the amount of work and the amount of extra content we would have had to ship.
And there is probably other smart ways to create the scale and fidelity that might be needed. But again, not 100% the right guys probably to dive into that. But it's not the talk at the moment in any case.
I mean, if you look at how much detail there is on that avatar, I mean, that's not even at 4K either. So
well, I mean, right where it's at 4K, right now, I don't know if it's
4K kind of.
So you guys are sitting at 2Ks, right? When it comes to textures, or are you going lower than that?
2K.
You're at 2K, so it's pretty much, I guess, standard right now. It's like 2048.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it came through on the Twitch feed, but as we were looking at the logo on the side of the avatar there, I mean, it almost looked like it was raised. See that? It's not just a flat logo.
Yeah, you got
so that's either
going on.
Yeah, that's either running through the normal or I don't know what you got set through your
it just looks cool.
materials. Yeah, it looks that's cool. It's either running through normal or height. Or are you guys using? You're not using you're just normal map. Yeah, you're running any displacements, right? I think that would probably hurt way too bad.
We were gonna put one on the front as a hologram in the middle. Did we ever look into that?
We forgot that. I was thinking about that.
Get that on there. Get that on there.
That on the front. I was like,
you have to add it, yeah.
We could, when it's closed, we should have a hologram in the middle, and then maybe later.
So I remember, and this was years ago, and I don't even remember what release it was, right? When all the ships were reskinned from what they used to be, right? And then, it was one of the things that I think keeps EVE from feeling like an old game, right? Mm-hmm. Is the art update that you guys have done over time. I think that is, and it has always stood out to me as one of the things that made EVE not feel like 16, 17-year-old game, right?
Thank you for saying that. Absolutely.
I'm not saying that because you're here. I'm saying that as a player,
It's-
that's how it made me feel.
That was that switch over from old diffuse to PVR. That's what did it.
That's when we had to paint a couple of extra maps and go over all the textures.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it took us a few months to kind of plow through that. The whole art team, it was like 3D artists, all the concept artists, and probably even more.
We were going crazy.
Were you guys
went through that?
were you guys using Substance? I assume currently, right?
Yeah.
So you're probably using the whole suite. So were you using like B2M to kind of convert the stuff at the time, or bitmap to material?
Don't think we. Can't remember when we.
What was the question?
Yeah, it was. So you guys, you're using Substance or whatever. When you did that big conversion over to PBR, did you happen to utilize like bitmap to material to kind of do that, or did you have to like say reuse all that? Or
we did Substance back then, I think, when we were doing that. Was that busy?
I think so. I
Substance
remember correctly.
All right.
Sorry, no comment.
Yeah.
Next
I'm just going to tell you. See you, Ernest. Thanks for coming. One of I mean, I remember that video so vividly. It's like the old skins, the new ones, the old, the new, right? And it was just like, yep, that's cool. You know, one of the things that we had in this feed too before that we got to see, right, watching this before we started showing it to everybody else, was, you know, you guys were like switching the background and all the different things there. I was like, wow, that's cool. You know,
just a small follow-up on that, because one of the things that blew my mind from the art crew, but that's way back, was when you guys first did the wormhole transitions, right? Where basically you were using like real life science. And I'm just wondering, how much of that do you still do? How much do you sit down and read up on science papers when you try to implement new things into the game?
Definitely less. I think it's a bit more on the creative side. We kind of just dive into what we think is cool. Obviously, sure, we explore stuff. We've been looking a bit at the moons and stuff. Then we kind of dive into that a bit, real world stuff. It depends, I think, just on what's being worked on. You know, obviously, if we're redoing some planets or stuff or for instance, looking into stuff like that, but. There hasn't been projects probably like that for a while, so it's been more about creating, you know, when we do Into the Abyss, that's just a whole different ball game. We kind of just went crazy there with, you know,
building environments and stuff.
Yeah.
I think what I'm just kind of hoping is that at some point I'll be able to fly through almost real life based protuberances from stars and all that stuff, right? And proper tumbling asteroids and all those possibilities in the future when the tech can actually carry it.
Yeah, and absolutely. I'm not saying we don't look into it, but it's just depends what we're looking into, I guess.
The other thing cool, when engine Coronas.
Certainly when you know, something comes on the news, you know, new science, they manage to picture this thing in space. We take a look at it every time.
Yeah.
And that often, like, you know, is a bit of inspiration.
Yeah, well,
and we keep that in the bank until we get to do it.
Yeah, some of the comments and stuff. When we're doing the abyssal environments, the rocks and the unique rocks we did there, they were actually inspired from some NASA imagery from some what was the comet that was flying around back then? I can't remember. But so sure, it's always in the back of our mind, but yeah, depends what's in the pipes.
Because it was kind of fun when everyone was linking to your videos of wormholes when they wanted to explain how it actually worked in real life. That was just so superior.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Sorry.
I just had I posted because you were talking about the texture fidelity. I dropped like the images that we dropped to you guys. There are some really interesting there's some concepts there, and they have like the old ships on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's they're in the.
I think I have it up. Is it the AT1 Paintover 2? That one?
It's in the redesign folder, I guess. You have like
okay.
Do you want me to
Comics?
show some of those? Let's go back to the. We'll go back to the 5 panel.
And if you open the Vexor, like you see the old ones there, and it's like such a drastically different, such a huge improvement.
So speaking of like older and newer stuff, obviously I follow portfolios and so on. Is that becoming kind of a standard in specifically talk about concept art? So that'd be more for York. You starting to mix more kind of 3D as like a block out and then paint over? I've seen the stuff from like way back in the day where it was just straight up sketch. And is that becoming like the more or less your standard? I know it's become an industry standard a lot of other places, but is that block out and then paint over kind of the thing now?
Yeah, it's been going that direction for a while. I remember when I started first, like I had some 3D, knowledge, but I like really want to get into drawing, so I was more kind of just focused on just doing like a 3/4 rendering, just Photoshop drawing, but that was pretty much the standard when I started, and we would do that, and then would work so closely with the 3D artist, and would be like just handing that one sketch over to an artist, and he would start blocking out all the other views that were missing, and then we would kind of get a couple of renderings back, paint over them. So it was a lot of back and forward with the 3D artist. And then I just started doing that kind of work myself, and I think that's most of the artists are kind of very well rounded in 3D as well, so they'll kind of
I
do that,
yeah.
and you can figure out a lot of stuff. But then just before Leftroop goes on, I'll just I'm gonna hand it over to him. But then also you have 3D artists that kind of evolve into the area of designing, and they start to build stuff. And it's not like earlier it was like very strict concept artist has their hands on everything and draws everything, and now we're starting to like a 3D artist goes into concept artist goes into 3D, and just a lot of interesting stuff.
Because there was, I think it was out of it was Eve Amsterdam that, or maybe panels, one of the art panels that went on, where it actually explained kind of like how it gets very iterative. It's concept in 3D, and it goes back and forth, and then it gets into like throwing it in an engine. I think this might be peeking one peeking which one it was, because I think Blue Screen was talking about it, and kind of going through that whole process to where you actually get the final model that goes into the game.
Yeah, I think there are very good reasons and benefits from doing it the way we are doing now, and most others are doing it, moving a little bit away from this, 3/4 hyper overdone concepts, because for 3D artists they are of course helpful, but sometimes we really need to have the flexibility to move away from the concept and iterate. And that's exactly what we do now. We do the blockouts, we walk over them and see what's happening, what might get better. So we are not stuck as we were before. And also it took a long time to do those beautiful 3/4 paintings. And the iteration part is... Yeah, and also it
over concept something, and
it's also because the ships are getting more complex, and there is a lot of animations in them and stuff, and that's just very hard for a concept artist to just get right from the beginning. So anyway, we would have to iterate on it.
So in my local industry of 3D and gaming that I have to do over here, we kind of have a phrase for that. I don't know if it's kind of a generalized industry phrase. We call it fail and fail fast. And that's where it's at. It's like it's the same kind of thing. Is like you go to, and if at one point it fails, you want it to fail early at the beginning before you go through the full flow. So it's kind of the same thing. It's just different wording.
Absolutely, very nice wording.
Is there CCP guys? Is there any of the art that you kind of showed us that hasn't been showed that you want us to show, or anything you for the audience?
Well, I think Mirko is making a Titan graveyard with the new Titan wreckage right now.
Oh, I don't have the feed up anymore. I can put the feed back up. I was looking at some of the concept art, like the Eve stars, and the jump tunnels, and different things. But do you want me to go back to the feed?
Oh yeah, there's a graveyard. There's definitely.
Okay, let me go back. To
yeah, there's the graveyards up.
So while he's doing that,
Right.
Whoops, wrong feed.
Oh, hello, Eric. Hi, Eric. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Eric. Just made for the healer.
Accidentally dropped into the wrong feed there. Sorry, guys.
Will we see more skins like that with like more diverse particle effects in the future?
Yeah, you're talking about the ones. Yeah, they had like the effects particles around the.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a bit tricky with like when we do more, I'll say like a cooler version when we introduce stuff like that, then that kind of becomes the new standard for this is the really cool skin, and everyone's like, when we want to create like a really cool skin, then everyone wants that, and so whenever we introduce these new things, it kind of offsets or shifts the I guess the tiers we have set already. We have kind of, when we get these requests in, it's like, hey, it's a really simple skin that's color change or something, or up to the really cool ones. I love doing these really fancy skins with effects and stuff. We do them when the time is right and when the requests come in, and sure, we always try to push that.
I think I forgot the name of the skin that was out there, but I think it was a ghost skin. It was bad, but it had it looked like it had got blasted apart, and it had particle loops going in and out of itself, and I was like, that is an absolutely amazing concept right there. So, but that was done via just a skin, and I think that took it into another level.
It sometimes also makes the ship you're flying look so much like something new, right? Yeah. I think the first time that I experienced something like that was the Hex skin on the Macarial, the green skin.
That's a good one.
There's so much going on with like particle effects there. That it just elevates the whole ship to a whole new level.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're also more and more trying to find places where we can make things on the skin change based on the state of the ship.
Yeah.
So like I forget the name of it, but the Tron like skin line changes, if you're in warp or not, the colors. There's a lot. We have a lot more power to do that kind of stuff now than we did before.
Yep.
And that's also just in the hands of the artists to author that kind of stuff when they want to, or when they find a good, place to put it.
Chat says it's called Vital Shift.
Vital Shift Eco. Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Could also be interesting to look at just creating a super badass NPC, something to tackle. You can create some weird ass skins or something on that,
So, coming down the pipe, we've been talking about modularity a lot, and going into the past a little bit around. I think Apocrypha was when the T3s came out, and I remember seeing the concept sheets for all the modules to say a Tengu. I was like, my God, that has to be crazy to model. All the different cut down from 5 slots to 3, I think. And I know you guys are talking about somewhere that you're going to do a lot more kit bashing when it comes to just environment-wise kind of stuff. Do you think there may be any other types of player flyable ships that are going to be interchangeable, kind of like those T3s were or still are? Because I know when T3 destroyers came out, they weren't modular. They had their 3 separate kind of modes or whatnot. But I would look at that. Each one of the 4 different races. I think it was 5 different versions of it. That's 25 different modules per ship. That yeah, you guys. One, was that a pain in the ass to do? And 2, would you do that again? Do you think?
I love the concept of it. It is like to be able to change the look of the ship, but if I don't remember correctly, didn't players always just pivot to the same combination pretty much for each of these versions? And so
yeah, I usually went with the Covops one that had the one that was on the one of the screens. That's one I always went to, but
it really depends. Like if you look at the Loki, there's a lot of different combinations of subsystems there.
On an art level, absolutely, I'd love. I'll do it totally differently today, and I'd love to do more of that. It's just we in art often have crazy ideas for new ships and stuff, but of course it just has to fit into, what's happening in the game.
Yeah, it all has to fit role and functionality.
Yeah.
You don't want to double up on things, but see me, I don't see it as bad as if it's if you have 2 different ships that do necessarily the same thing. If that's the look you want to get, then you use that. Absolutely. If it does the same thing with that, it's not like you're you're not putting it out of balance. You're just changing a look on something, and that leaves it up to like right now, your ship is you. It's your avatar. So that's your look that you pick. If you could completely customize that out, that makes it even more you and more personal. Not Hello Kitty skins. I'm not going there. I really am not going there. But
this is not an anime game. Okay.
But you see my drift of where it is.
Yeah, it's a good point. So how do you feel about more bright colors and Hello Kitty colors?
When it comes down to how those... Go ahead, Mac.
Oh no, in terms of bright colors, I kind of feel like I do kind of feel like neon-y kind of bright colors, but sort of pastel-y bright colors. I don't know, they don't have the right feel.
So when it got to, I forgot the name of the Phoenix, and it was it was completely black, but it had the neon outline pulsing through it. That kind of stuff just really tweaked me out because I was like,
I feel like the early skins had a bit of a problem with contrast. If you were actually flying them, depending on the color of the sun you were, depending on the system you were in, sometimes you couldn't really tell the colors because there wasn't enough contrast, right? The newer skins, I personally think a lot of them are way better really telling them apart and seeing what's going on with the skin itself.
Yeah, I actually think we have been brightening stuff up and adding more colors. There's been a lot of very colorful skins and areas for people to be able to get that kind of material.
I just want to.
Yeah, just curious.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know we will stop at 2:30. That is a half an hour extra. We want to be mindful of everybody's personal time as well. Plus, probably there's fireside. But just give everybody 10-minute warning. One of the things I wanted to say is tough about Eve is and I don't know if it's really something you can fix, right? It just seems dark, but you're in space, right? So it just seems so dark. So sometimes it's just hard to see the ships in general, right? But I don't know if you can fix that, really. But I will say, the first Fortizar our corporation put down in Delve had nothing to do with the strategic position, the ability to align to the gate or anything. The planet we were putting it next to just looked like where you would put a space station, okay?
Cool.
So, I mean, and that was all based on art, right? And that's, I mean, I get it. You want to put things strategic, but sometimes you just want to make it look cool. You know?
Yeah, just like some of those Fortizars are right on.
Yeah. I mean,
now having everything look cool is all fair and well, but if you can't get everybody who's playing the game to see it really, really cool because of, say, RAM issues, that is a bit of a problem. So, and this is my hard segue into a question.
Oh boy,
I've been wanting to do for so long, but I know you guys probably didn't have really anything to do with the recoding to 64-bit, but what was the reaction that you guys had to 64-bit coming out and seeing that everybody was just so happy at being able to set everything to max graphics levels and being able to just glory in the beautifulfulness that you guys have been creating for so long, but a lot of us in the big fights have had to dial all the way back to just looking really, really bad.
Potato mode. Just say it. Potato mode.
Yeah,
potato mode.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. Lot to hear. Quick note on the darkness. We do have there is a post-processing effect that does brighten stuff up. Often you are in a shadow. We were often talking a lot about the shadow side of the avatar. We're like, oh, is it supposed to be this bright? And in real life, it would probably be a lot darker, right?
So you guys got an exposure composition or?
Yeah, it kind of if everything is pitch black, it kind of compensates for that. So it is things like that going on.
Yeah.
So it's one thing I noticed about the new that came out. It looked like some of the stars kind of. Is stuff going to get really dark?
I don't know what's going on with that. Weird,
sorry,
right?
I missed that. I don't know.
Are we actually going to have Triglavian graphics on stars, like text, or was that just
get another beer now? Maybe.
It's time to get another beer.
Yeah.
The
Well, he
space
gets another beer.
calligraphy expansion, right? Writing in space.
Yeah.
Writing in space.
Star carving, right?
It was just one of the video guys putting a funny message in, something about his family playing.
Oh, that had the lore expert going wild on that one.
Oh, we've got a translation of it.
Of course there is.
One of the things I have always liked in the high graphics mode here that you just don't get in other games, I don't think, is when you do the shadows. And the shadows of other ships on your ships as they pass you. And I always thought that was super cool, right? And the video of the sun that we have, is that something that's public right now? Because it
You mean the writing?
Yeah, that's fine to show.
I might show it later if I can figure out if I can get it in there, because I actually had to log into the game and say, is that in the game now? Caleb and I had a conversation about it, right? Is that in the game? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, I'm driving over to the sun right now. Flying over to the sun right now to see if it does that, and it doesn't. But it's not that much of a change, but it's just one of those cool little things that makes it neat. Oh, let me see if I can get it up there while you guys chit chat.
One of the coolest
I have
things
one
actually
question.
that I've noticed is that it's not just the shadows, but when you're in a fleet and you warp to the gate with a larger ship, the light coming off of the boosters of that larger ship is lighting up the rest of the fleet when it comes in. It's just wow.
That's super.
That's
really good.
I've always noticed
that you don't see in other games. I don't think. Maybe I just don't play enough other games. I don't know.
You can.
You do, but it's not as pronounced. It's it's not quite what we see here.
See, that's one thing about Eve. Is other games. Earth itself is generally that environment is generally close. So there's a lot of things that are like, oh, squirrel, oh, shiny object, and this. Eve, it's like everything is expansive space. You only have a few things to look at. Where it's if you're in a ball of ships, that's where your emphasis is right there. So I think you tend to notice a lot of things. At least that's how I kind of look at it. But it's uncluttered. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, just wanted to comment, like when you guys are talking about, how you place your station where it looks really good, and how we feel about like these comments when the 64-bit client comes out. Obviously, this is what we care the most about, is the look of the game. And like for so long, always this discussion of like, hey, can we maybe limit the camera zoom somewhere in the game so we can just force people to see how beautiful it is, And when Into the Abyss first came, like when we absolutely did that, and it's like, but there was such a, you guys don't realize how big of a fight that actually was at the time, like because there is like always the counter argument. No, people know how to zoom always for endlessly out, and it's like, hey, just have a look at the game. It doesn't have there's got to be some areas where we can do stuff like that, and like
just like give them a taste of like what the what it could look like, and see if they do want to zoom in or zoom out, kind of thing.
By the way,
or could we fly inside something, like fly inside an asteroid or inside a station or something, and then you just change that whole field of view, and you're gonna get such a different level of immersion, and it's like, just having gameplay for that is something that would be super cool.
Yeah. Flying inside of a station and getting attacked. That sounds like an absolutely great idea. Yeah. I love that idea. Yeah. But since I got all you guys on, we were talking about cameras. I don't know if you guys can get a direct beeline to whoever to make 3D mouse support or 6DoF mouse support. Buy them a beer for me, please, because that was the most beautiful idea ever. Because I use that when I'm in a lot, and then having it in Eve, just boom, just head explosion. It was great.
I have a massive request, and I apologize for using this, but because I have a 3D mouse and I've used 3D mouse to sort of capture, to capture footage and stuff like that. The only thing that I that has always kind of bugged me about the 3D mouse kind of implementation in Eve is you don't have the inertia into it. If you could somehow get that into it for 3D mouse, I would be eternally grateful, and I'm sure
you might have noticed earlier that I was flying around. I was doing that with the 3D mouse with inertia. So we have that in our editor. And we'd very much like to see it get into client because it makes a huge difference.
I was about to be like, your 3D mouse skills are on point there, dude.
I'd like to have an expert mode where you actually can turn roll on, and actually so when I'm in Maya, I unlock all axes and I'm flipping and I'm rotating everything. I wish I could, but ZBrush doesn't do that. It's CPU based rather than GPU based. But I wish I could do that and even just start flipping things around and getting all in the thing. It's like advanced 3D mouse mode.
So dare I let you guys go into one last thing mode here in the last 1 minute? Can you guys actually get through that? Or do we just let CCP close with whatever they want to close with?
I don't mind the latter.
Well, you have what?
I don't mind the latter of the two.
Either one, gents.
Who brought a ladder?
Can we have something hype? Something to hype about that's not been shown yet.
Hype.
Give us a tease, guys.
It's like Burger's ears pick up. What?
I can grab my ukulele and sing a song. Is that something?
That would work.
Not doing it.
You're not doing it. Not enough beers.
All
right. Well, let's just close it out with, gentlemen, thank you. This is great stuff. We love to see these things in the game. I think it really has enhanced the game, and we really appreciate you taking the time to spend some time and talk about it with us. Really, so thank you.
Yeah,
pleasure.
Yeah, no problem. It's fun.
I've been waiting for this for a long time. Thank you so much.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Cheers, guys.
Good. You guys stay
guys.
safe too, because we want more cool things. So we appreciate all your work. Thank you.
Cheers.
Everybody say bye to the audience. Bye, audience.
Bye.
Bye.
We're just
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy.